guys? Cajun Cardboard coming at you from the great state of Louisiana, and I cannot tell you how excited I am to be alive, breathing, talking, speaking, and sounding like myself. Like a lot of people across the country, dealt a little bit with some COVID and maybe some flu and strep as well. I know Omicron's easy for some people. It was not super easy for me, but here I am. I'm super excited to get back in front of the camera. And I did not miss an episode, which I'm super proud of. I am filming this episode number 10 of Explore the Card today. Hopefully you guys have been watching the episodes, enjoy them. We're hitting on some of these inserts and parallels that you guys know and love from the 90s, or that you guys are loving to learn about from the 90s. I just really, honestly, I'm just excited to be talking normal, no sore throat, no headaches, no crazy fatigue, and all the stuff that goes with Omicron or flu or strep or whatever the hell it was that I had. I actually had a nice camera shoved into my nose to look down my throat. It just stuff you don't want to go through on the regular. So hopefully this insane Omicron wave is hitting and is gonna leave as quickly as it arrived. That's my prayer and that's my hope. And just super happy nobody else that I know got seriously sick, and none of my family members got it when I got it somehow. I don't know. Maybe I'm the weak one in the family, but here I am with you today. Anyway, let's take a look at the thumbnail here. We're talking about this beautiful 1995 Skybox Premium Meltdown MJ. The card picture's not mine. I swiped it from our good friends at Card Ladder, which we always use for our data pricing and whatnot. But I'm going to switch over here to our list, and we're going to start talking, as we always do, first about the set from whence this Meltdown insert comes from. However, before we start, I always like to be transparent. I own 4 copies of this card. I own 3 PSA 8s, and I own 1 PSA 9. I'll take you over to my PWCC vault. You can see the PSA 8, the PSA 8, the PSA 9, and the PSA 8. We'll take a quick look at the PSA 9 when the time comes to kind of examine the card closer. I will tell you, one of my PSA 8s is in the very first PWCC weekly auction. They call it the Sunday weekly auction. They start on Thursdays. They run for 10 days. I put one of these PSA 8s in that weekly auction just to try to consolidate and grow some funds and buy some bigger cards. Bought it a very long time ago, just as an investment piece. Obviously, this PSA 9 that you're looking at on the screen is the one that I keep in my PC that matters the most. And we'll talk about where I'm going with this card and what I'm looking to do with this card coming up shortly. But anyway, talking about the set that this card comes from, it comes from the 95 Skybox Premium set. There's Series 1 and Series 2. This particular insert comes from Series 2 only. So if you're looking to buy boxes, make sure you're buying Series 2. If that is not correct, somebody correct me in the comments, but I'm almost certain that's the case. It's a 301 card base set, card number 301, which is really odd, but card number 301 is actually Magic Johnson. I think maybe they decided at the last minute to add Magic back in there. But it's a 301 card base set. Nothing really to write home about. The base set, it's kind of a down year for rookies, as you guys know. I don't want to offend any McDice or Stackhouse or Sabonis collectors out there, but really Kevin Garnett is the rookie you're looking for in this 1995 year. There are 13 total insert sets. The 13 total insert sets from the 1995 Skybox Premium. Some of the notable insert sets, along with Meltdown, are Larger Than Life, which is a beautiful gold foil set featuring MJ. And then there's Standouts, and then there's also Standouts Hobby, which are pretty rare, and those cards fetch a pretty nice premium as well. The Meltdown is a 10-player insert set, okay? So it's a very collectible, very digestible, just eye-popping. I think the card is absolutely beautiful. I actually pulled this BGS 9.5 off of Card Ladder instead of the PSA 10, just because you can see how eye-popping it is visually. With it looks like some kind of, sparks and welding and kind of some hot blue lava going in the background, just kind of melting this green metal, or this green, it looks like almost like a green metal basketball floor behind Jordan, hence the name Meltdown. But it's a 10-player set. Obviously, it features Jordan, or we wouldn't be talking about it today, but it also features Hall of Famers Jason Kidd, Hakeem Olajuwon, Shaq, and David Robinson. 5 of the 10 players are Hall of Famers. They are the 5 that I just listed. The Meltdown pack odds are 1 in 54 Series 2 packs, or 1 in 42 jumbo packs. I didn't see any jumbo packs on eBay. I just wanted to see what that box looked like, but I couldn't find one. Because there's 10 players in the set, Jordan is 1 in 540 packs. So the Jordan Meltdown is 1 out of 540 packs to pull. I want to thank a couple people. Number one, and this is the beauty of doing this on YouTube, and then just having an Instagram presence. Dan is a friend and certainly a friend of the channel and a friend of mine on Instagram. He has an Instagram account, mjordan_HOF. mjordan_HOF. Dan actually watched last episode where I told you I was fumbling and I couldn't find the old Blowout Forums list of pack odds. Well, Dan tracked it down, sent me the link. Dan, thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. I've actually already transferred it to my desktop, saved it under my favorites, and I've printed it out so I've got it handy next to me. He sent me not only that old list from Blowout Forums, which is one of the best that I've found, but another list as well, which we had both stumbled upon. So Dan, thank you for doing that. In addition, Frankie, the great Frankie 3500 on Instagram, FRANKIE 3500, one of the best dealers around and one of the best Jordan collectors around, and just an all-around great dude. Actually got me the pack odds for this Meltdown because it is not on that list. The pack odds for this card do not appear on that, what I thought was a very comprehensive list of Jordan insert and parallel pack odds. But he's the one who found it for me, and he actually pulled it from a very, very old hard copy of a Beckett magazine, which is, it just goes to show you that as much as things change and technology advances, sometimes you still got to go back to the old paper version of the Beckett magazines to get your pack odds. So this Jordan's 1 in 540 pack odds. Not crazy, but not easy either. Let's talk about the card. So we're looking at the card itself. I'm zoomed in on my version. The one thing I wanted to show you is, and it's ironic, and I just happened to notice the last 3 episodes I've done have featured soaring stars, and I'm trying to figure out what the last one was. I can't remember what episode number 9 was. I just can't remember it. But episode number 9 also, and then episode number 10 here today, Meltdown, all 3 feature Jordan taking a picture-perfect jump shot. So I'm going to get a little nerdy for you right here, since I was a shooting coach and a shooting instructor and coached a good deal of basketball for a couple of decades. This is as good as it gets. So you've got, you've got full extension, a high release point. You've got his guide hand over here with 5 fingers facing the side of the gym wall. And then you've got the last 2 fingers coming off the ball in perfect succession, or his ring finger and index finger, not ring finger, middle finger and index finger. And so you've just got the absolute, makings of one of the greatest jumpers of all time. But it features Jordan, in the black number 23 uniform. Like we talked about, it's got this like kind of bubbling, exploding, almost like a lava waterfall pouring into some kind of, if you can look, you can see the rivets in the floor, like this green metal looking basketball floor background, and it's just melting it down, which is where they get the name Meltdown. The back's actually even more colorful with this creepy, almost like a horror film, text type font. And then I always like to read the back. It says, and this is, I think there's a grammar error. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is just my OCD nature. Air Jordan is one of the single biggest offensive force the world has ever seen. I feel like that should be forces. He's one of the biggest forces. I feel like it should be a plural, but maybe I'm crazy. Comment and let me know if I'm nuts or if you give a damn. He can score inside and outside, posting up smaller defenders and driving around slower opponents. While the consistency of Jordan's jump shot has improved every year, his dunks remain as electrifying as ever. And so that's the front, and that's the back, and the back is just badass. It shows you the same showering, like heat flecks coming off, almost like a waterfall, upside down lava waterfall. I don't even know how to describe it, but a beautiful card, foiled everywhere, gold foil Skybox symbol in the top right. The name Michael Jordan, sometimes it's hard to see, but it's printed in gold foil right there by his waistline, Chicago Bulls. Just an absolute all around, just big time, beautiful card. Anyway, let's get into some of the details. And so you're looking at the PSA 10 on your screen that we found here on Card Ladder. I've got the screen blown up, so hopefully you can see it well. This is a Pop 16 card. There have been 290 cards graded by PSA. 6% have gemmed. Okay, so there's your typical super low gem rate for a Jordan. All foil, all dark everywhere, edges, corners, borders, easily flaky foil insert. 6% have graded PSA 10. The last card sold at $13,000. I was a bidder chasing this card. I lost it. It ran away from me. The card before that sold for like $7,800 or $8,000 or something like that. And so this was a huge jump, guys, for this PSA 10 copy that did sell in the PWCC December auction. If you guys ever want to see the last sales of the card on Card Ladder, go right here. See where my cursor is over here. Click View All Sales, and then you can kind of pull them up, and it'll show you the last two. So this is the one that I lost out on in the PWCC. It says weekly, but it was really monthly back then. So that was the December monthly. I ended up getting the Records collection in that auction, but that was the same auction that the Records collection 10, the High Voltage 10, and that was the episode number 9, the High Voltage. And then this Skybox Premium Meltdown 10 all went in that December monthly auction, all PSA 10s, all very low pop. And then, like I said, before that, it had sold for $7,800, and that was during a very high time of the market in February of this year, or last year now, I should say. So to jump from, during the peak era of all cards from $7,800 to $13,000 is a pretty big ass jump. That was a huge 67% jump from the $7,800 to the $13,000. But that's your PSA 10. Only two of them, those two, the $7,800 and the $13,000, those are the only two, as you can see on this graph, that have sold in the last year. The average sales price is $10,400. Things that I want to focus on with this PSA 10 is the $13,000. The question is, what does the next one yield? Where's the next one? Where's the next one at? Card Ladder's got it. It looks like the Jordan index is ticking up. The basketball index in general, believe it or not, across the board is ticking up. So Card Ladder thinks this card's ticked up even a little bit since December, and that's why you'll see the $273.99 premium on there on top of what it sold for. Let's look at the next one. Let's look at the BGS 9.5. You guys know I collect the 9.5s and the 10s. That's just what I do. I don't distinguish between either. I love to have either in my collection, and ultimately that's my goal. Once I have the 9.5, I usually don't chase the PSA 10. That's just not how I collect. But this BGS 9.5, which was the cover for our thumbnail, that we pulled, 7,804 is what Card Ladder has its value at. The last one sold in April for 7,627. The thing about the BGS 9.5, this is one of those rare situations where in here, I'm going to pull this over and put it on the screen. Hopefully I don't screw anything up. So here's my graph, right? And so you'll see this BGS 9.5 is a Pop 7. And that is, there's half as many 9.5s as there are PSA 10s, and about the same number graded. The gem rate is about half. So you're talking about the 9.5 being twice as scarce and having half the gem rate as the PSA 10. Yet it sells for, I don't want to say half, but significantly less than the PSA 10 did. There's been 2 sales, and this actually, the last sale was down. So this card in BGS 9.5 condition, and remember, there's 7 in the world, sold twice this year. That's an anomaly. I don't think that's normal. I don't think that's common. I don't think that you can count on 2 out of the 7 selling every year. But you'll see over here, it was down 16%. The PSA 9 and BGS 9 are very similar cards, very similar pop, very similar total graded, as we talked about, very similar gem rates. And so these cards are kind of lumped together and they're getting treated about the same. You'll see there's a little bit of a difference in their value here in the last one that sold for each, about $350 off. Difference between the PSA 9 having a premium over the BGS 9. And 14 of those, so maybe one a month, has sold over the last year. between the two mint copies. The average price is nearly the same, 1,300 and 1,000. But funny enough, all of the cards in all of these grades are down except for that one PSA 10 that sold in the December PWCC monthly auction. So PWCC can hang their hat on that one, getting a high yield on that card. It makes me want to go look and see where this BGS 9.5 sold. Yeah, so it sold at best offer on eBay in April. I was just curious about that. So, but anyway, let's get back to. So let me get my chart off the screen here. Hopefully you guys can see this still, and we're picture in picture. One cool thing about BGS is you can do a couple things. So first, let's compare the pop growth rate. I want to show you in the PSA 10. You can click this little arrow right here. There's been no PSA 10s added since April. We can go to BGS 9.5. There's been no BGS 9.5s added since April. Okay, so between those two, we're talking about pop 16 and 7. We're talking about 23 total gem mint copies of this card in the world. That's not a lot to go around, fellas. If we look at the PSA 9, it's not from a lack of trying. Okay, so PSA 9s have gone up. PSA has added 7 to the population, so it's jumped from 40 to 47 just in like the past 8 months. The BGS 9s, same thing. If you look at it, it's jumped from 45 to 51. So they've added 6 to the population in BGS 9 condition over the past 8 or 9 months. But as far as gem copies, it just ain't happening, y'all. It's just not happening. I think we can go here and let's compare all grades. That's not going to help. Let's go to 2 years. Nope, that's not going to help. Let's go to all time. Let's see if this is digestible. It's just not digestible, guys, right now. It's just not super digestible. But there's a graph on here where if you've got a lot of price points and a lot of data, you can actually compare it. It's just not enough, honestly. I mean, you can look at 1 year. It's just kind of hard to tell. So that's not going to be the most. That's not going to be the most helpful thing in the world. But anyway, as always, there are no BGS 10s and there are no BGS 10 black labels, which is not surprising given the foiled and dark nature of the edges and borders and surface of this card. We always look at the combined gem population. I've said it twice now. There's 23 of them, y'all. There's right at 100 in mint condition. So there's 98 in mint condition. There's 23 in gem mint condition. I like this card, man. I really like this card. That's just not a lot. It's 121 in mint or better condition. That is not a lot. I like the card. And that's just me. And that's why I picked up a few copies of it, even though there are, some PSA 8s in there. But there are only 4 have sold between PSA 10 and BGS 9.5 in the last year. That's not a lot. That's about once every 3 months you see a gem mint copy. I think that's an anomaly. I would bet anything. Comment below if I'm crazy. There is no way in hell we're going to see 4 gem mint copies of this card sell in the next 12 months. Not going to happen. I guarantee it's not going to happen. In 2022, I'd be surprised if it sells more than once, possibly twice. It just doesn't add up when there's only 23 of them out there and somebody's just added 4 of them into their collection. That leaves about 19 left. You're not going to see 4 of the 19 sell in the next year. So this is a card where if it comes up, there's going to be a bidding war and there's going to be some people chasing it, and myself included. If I can get my hands on a 9.5 or a PSA 10, I certainly am going to try to do that in 2022. This is a card that I like a lot, and I'm also in a position where I can kind of defray the cost because I can move this PSA 9 once I take in the PSA 10 or the BGS 9.5, if I'm lucky enough to do so. Anyway, the PSA 10, like we talked about, other table observations from our table. The PSA 10 jumped from 7,800 to 13,000. That's the most notable thing. That is, obviously different than what the other copies have done. The other copies have gone down. If you're not a gem mint Jordan insert chaser, then you're in great position. Go grab it in PSA 9 or BGS 9 because they're both down a little bit. Which to me is odd. That just seems odd to me. I'm waiting for the world to figure out that it's okay to go chase Jordan cards in like PSA 8 and PSA 9 when those cards are under pop 130, in the world. I don't know when people are going to be okay with that and attribute some value to that. It's almost like people would rather, a Pop 250 PSA 10 Jordan insert than a, Pop 100 PSA 9 insert. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me, and I guess that just takes time for the hobby to get educated. Not that I've got it all figured out, but give me the lower pop, more scarce card, even if the grade is lower. Whatever, I just don't get it. All the other grades went down in 2021. We just talked about that. Only 20% of the cards that are submitted to PSA and Beckett mint or better. So only 20% of the cards grade PSA or BGS 9 or better. That's a very low percentage for a mint rate. What's on eBay? Okay. At the time that I'm filming this, which is Sunday, January 16th, when I searched 1995 Skybox Meltdown, I pulled up 23 results. 14 of them were raw. There are 0 PSA. There are 0 BGS, 9.5s, 9s or higher. So mint condition, Skybox Meltdown, there are none on eBay. The 1995 Skybox Premium sealed boxes, when I search that, 11 of these actually show up. So you can find 11 boxes. Remember, we're looking for Series 2 here. So there were 8 Series 1 boxes at $250 a pop. I'm not sure how that helps you chase a meltdown. There are 3 Series 2 boxes, and one was actually ending today, and it was looked like a pretty low price. But there's 3 Series 2 boxes at $525 and up. One was at auction, and then 2 were buy it now or best offer at $525 or up. What do I own and what do I grade? As I said, I own 3 copies of the PSA 8. I own 1 copy of the PSA 9. The 9 is in my PC until I replace it with a 9.5 or a 10. One of the PSA 8s, as I said, is in the PWCC weekly that will end not this Sunday, but next Sunday, which I think is the 23rd. I think that's right. If you are interested in it, please go bid. Please go check out. I think there's going to be some great deals to be had. Even though the index and the market's starting to tick up a little bit, I think there's going to be some deals to be had in these PWCC weekly auctions until people figure out what an amazing, viable opportunity it is to go pick up quality cards from a quality seller with no bullshit from eBay. So anyway, over the course of 2022, I'll be moving all the PSA 8s just kind of here and there to kind of consolidate my collection like I did in my New Year's resolutions. I'm trying to consolidate my collection a little bit here. Buy, sell, or hold. I'm a big buy. I'm looking for 9.5 or 10 in the calendar year 2022. That's no secret. I really like this card a lot. It's really high on my personal list. I know it's not the most super sought after Jordan insert or parallel out there, but I really like this card. And so for that reason, I really want to put a 9.5 or a 10 in my collection and then defray the cost of that acquisition by selling this PSA 9 and the other PSA 8s that I have. We always ask, is it a low, mid, or a high end or a grail insert, right? And so this is where I arbitrarily categorize it. If it's over $20,000, it's grail. If it's between 10 and 20,000, we call it high end. If it's between 5 and 10, we call it mid end. And if it's below that, we call it low end. Actually, I think I go one to 5,000. Yeah. So the PSA 10 is a high end card. It is, over 10,000 now. It looks like that ship has sailed. I don't think this card's ever in PSA 10 condition coming back below 10. The question is the 9.5. Is the 9.5 the next one that sells? Like we looked at it, it's half as common. It's twice as scarce, I should say, as the PSA 10. I'd be surprised if the next 9.5, of course, depending on subgrades and how the card itself looks, it's more than just a label. But if it's a quality 9.5, maybe quad gem or gem plus, I'd be surprised if that card doesn't overtop $10,000, considering the PSA 10 just sold for 13. Of course, it depends on the platform and the seller and things like that. PSA in BGS 9 is considered a low-end card. So right in the $1,000 range, you could actually get into the BGS 9 for under $1,000, which would be pretty cool. But that's it, guys. And so, I appreciate you guys joining me. As always, do me a favor, if you like the episodes and you want to learn more about Jordan inserts and parallels, please subscribe to the channel. I put one of these Explore the Card episodes out every Friday for your enjoyment and education, and for my own education and my own enjoyment. I'm having fun doing it. Hit the bell icon for notifications. I do more than just this Explore the Card. I've got a really cool episode coming out pretty soon called the Cajun Time Machine, where we go back in time to 2016. And I give you a random look at some cards that I purchased and what they're worth today. We can also we're also going to do something. I'm going through the 2016, 2017, and 2018 draft classes, player by player, every single player one at a time, and talking about those players not from a card perspective per se, but mostly from a basketball perspective. What they've done, what they can do, what has the ship sailed? Are they gone forever? Are they an up and coming superstar? Where do they fit? Are they role players? Are they starters? We're going to go through every single player by player. 60 players per draft, and if you guys love basketball, you'll love those episodes. Those are coming out this week. And I never do this, but I want to make sure I give credit to some of the people that I rely on. Card Ladder, first and foremost. I use Card Ladder for all my data pricing, as my data pricing tool of choice, especially since the sales history feature's been added. It is invaluable. If you don't have it and you're not a Card Pro member, go be a Card Pro member. I'm friends with those folks, but whether I was friends with them or knew their name or not, that is my go-to for pricing, especially for cards in the Jordan world, and now for all cards, including ultra modern shiny stuff with the sales history feature. Cardboard Connection I use to gather a little bit of information about sets. PSA and Beckett for their pop reports. Obviously, the best way to go check out your gem rate and what card grades and what condition is PSA and Beckett. Trading Card Database I use to get a little background on the history of each particular set, from whence these inserts and parallels come from. PWCC. I keep all my stuff in the PWCC vault. I don't want to deal with theft, fire, flood, everything else that, I say it's the great state of Louisiana, but it ain't great when it comes to Mother Nature, because your shit can get messed up in this state. I've had it happen to my friends. I've had it happen to me. Even humidity itself is one of nature's issues down here in Louisiana. It's like we live in a jungle. You guys from the Philippines know what I'm talking about. South Florida, deep South Texas, Louisiana. It's just different here, man. And then basketballreference.com is another great website. If you love basketball and you love basketball statistics, basketballreference.com is another place that I want to make sure I give credit to. Anyway, thanks, guys. Like I said, subscribe, like, comment. I really enjoy your comments. Thank you guys for some of your feedback over the last few months. I'm really enjoying doing this. Keep up the feedback and interaction, and the more people that we have, the better. The channel's growing slowly, and that's okay, because it is a niche channel. As you will soon see, I talk a lot, so it needs to be people that like to watch long videos, and I only talk about basketball cards and basketball, and so it needs to be people who like NBA basketball and NBA basketball cards. I'm not out there trying to take over the world. I'm just out there to share some of the stuff that I've learned over the years in collecting, and have some fun, and hopefully provide some entertainment and education for you guys on YouTube. I am looking into spreading this thing over to a podcast. I have an old man, small brain, but I need to find some young person who's intelligent, who's done that before, and figure out how to post this to where it can appear as a podcast. It's maybe even better suited for a podcast, to get my face off the screen. And since most of what I do is just talking, even though I am super excited about now being able to do picture-in-picture and different things like that. So anyway, thanks again, guys. I've rambled long enough. Happy to be back from COVID. Excited for episode number 11 next. Keep putting in the comments cards you want to see next. And happy collecting, and peace.